I'm here today with our local community leaders and the imams. I will introduce them. We have speakers who will make our press release. But today's press conference is a part joint effort with other Muslim and civil rights organizations in holding this news conference, Los Angeles, Minneapolis, and Boston. The purpose of this news conference is to express the community concern, that is the Muslim American community concern about the proposed government-initiated counter-violent extremism program, the CVE. The Minnesota Muslim community is compromised or engaged citizens and contributing members of society. Like all Americans, we condemn terrorism and terrorist organizations. Any action that harms innocent civilians is reversible and deserves condemnation. We condemn terrorism wherever it happens, and whoever commits it. So I would like to introduce you, our next speaker is somebody you know, is Dr. Hamdi Sawaf. He will elaborate the reason we're here today. Thank you very much.
I'm affiliated to the Islamic Community Center of Minnesota, Masjid Al-Iman Mosque of Faith, here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm the president of the board, as well as I'm the founder, and also professionally speaking, I'm a psychotherapist. I would like to thank all of you today for being with us, and I really, really appreciate your presence with us to cover this wonderful press conference. Today's press conference is part joint effort with other Muslim and civil rights organizations in holding news conference here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Los Angeles, and Boston to express growing community concerns about the proposed government-initiated countering violent extremism, CVE programming. The Minnesota Muslim community is comprised of engaged citizens and contributing members of our wonderful society. Like all Americans, we condemn terrorism and terrorist organizations. Any action that harms innocent civilians is reprehensible and deserves condemnation. We condemn terrorism whenever it happens, wherever it happens, and whoever commits it. While we are united with the government in our desire to protect our nation's security and liberties, we are not convinced that the current law enforcement countering violent extremism CVE program is the most effective way to work with the Minnesota Muslim Somali community. Thank you.
Today we are here, as my friends already mentioned, that to express our concerns about the CVE program, which is not pilot program anymore, but it's becoming laws that will affect not only Muslims, but all Americans. So that's why we want our public, our fellow Americans, to see the concerns, what we are saying. This will affect their privacy, or our privacy as Americans. It will affect the religious freedom, freedom of assembly, freedom of association. And Dr. King said, Martin Luther King said, very important statement. What is injustice to someone or one group is injustice to all. So this creates injustice to a specific community, the Muslim community in America, especially the Somali community in America. And this will lead, if this becomes law, will lead that, but when they say like the risk or factors of extremism, it means like my son, who's an American young son, if he wears qamis like I do today and goes to the public schools will become part of this program that they are reporting this type of the dress, which will lead also, this is like intrusion of the civil rights of the Americans and practice or freedom of religion. So I want to express that majority or Muslim community in Minnesota, more than 30 mosques and plus organizations, and together about 60 and more organizations are united today to express this concern that we want the public to share, and at the same time, not only that, to act together to stop the Congress to pass this bill. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Qasim Busuri, Kassim Busuri, Busuri. I am the Education Director of Minnesota Dawa Institute in St. Paul, and I'm also a Muslim youth activist. The current CVE program exclusively targets American Muslims. According to the information available to us, the U.S. Attorney in all 3 pilot cities for the current CVE initiative solely targeted Muslims. This is both stigmatizing and alienating because it advances the false intuition that American Muslims are the only suspected community and are not fully invested in honoring our religious and civil duty to our nation. The American Muslim community has an excellent track record of reporting criminal behaviors. Former FBI Director Robert Mueller once told the U.S. House Judiciary Committee that many of our cases are results of cooperation from the Muslim community in the United States. The Minnesota pilot program focuses only on countering violent extremism in Minnesota Somali communities. We believe it will further stigmatize and marginalize the Somali and Muslim community by targeting all of its members as suspects and holding an entire community responsible for the action of others. We believe it is morally and democratically repugnant to single out the community based solely on its religious affiliation and ethnic makeup. While Obama administration officials have tried to distance U.S. programs from the British CVE program called PREVENT, the similarities between the two are obvious. PREVENT has been widely criticized for alienating the very community it was seeking to influence, for lacking any means of measuring effectiveness. Moreover, the trajectory of the UK efforts shows how these programs can morph into outright censorship. Yet, US CVE programs have repeated PREVENT mistakes, focusing exclusively on Muslims.
Again, thank you for coming. My name is Jaylani Hussein, Jaylani Hussein. I'm the Executive Director for the Council on American Islamic Relations, the Minnesota chapter. Today, as you heard, we are united. We are standing together with one voice from 3 cities that have been chosen by the Department of Homeland Security to initiate a program that singly targets American Muslims. This program has created divisions and has not been effective. And today we are here to remind that the Minnesota Muslim community is united in the opposition of this program. And since it's been launched in September 2014, we are here today to report to you that there is a bill, 2899, that is being developed in the Homeland Security, and that bill will create a CVE department. And so therefore, today we are here to oppose that bill and the program itself, and this voice is being echoed today in all of those 3 cities, in Boston, earlier today, right now in Minneapolis, and also in Los Angeles later today. The community has made tremendous effort in addressing the issue of radicalization. We have been resilient. We have worked extensively. And in early January, the community leaders have come together to initiate a working group to address this issue. This working group has met a number of times since May and has made productive and successful meetings. In these meetings, we discussed important issues, but specifically shared good practices, good best management practices of how to keep our youth and to safeguard our youth. It is our recommendation today and reminding, as we did before, that the government should stop investing in programs that only stigmatize, divide, and marginalize our community further. Instead, we ask the government to assist our communities to become more fully engaged participants in our democratic system, including by doing the following points. The government should support the Minnesota Muslim Working Group that is being developed. This group is to serve the community. Its members are growing and represent the majority of the Muslim community here in Minnesota. We also recommend that all funds, resources used for social services and educational services should come from appropriate resources, such as foundations, corporations, and state and local government, and should be separate from any counter-terrorism and law enforcement initiatives. The Department of Justice should issue guidelines similar to the Good Samaritan laws to protect those in our communities who act in good faith to prevent violent extremism by engaging with those considering it in order to dissuade them. Department of Justice should make clear that those intervened to help others should not be penalized for it by being subject to persecution, watch listing, surveillance, or because of their association with a potential violent extremist. Also, the U.S. Congress should hold hearings similar to the church hearings, church committee, to invest the federal government's overboard surveillance of mosques and American Muslims, absent evidence of criminal activity. Like all other communities, we cannot guarantee that any person or organization will not usurp our faith and ethnical identities or manipulate legitimate foreign policy grievances to justify horrendous act of violence. We fully recognize that we live in time of rife and with conflict and grotesque acts of cruelty. In such times, it is even more important that our government does not descend into marginalizing and stigmatizing communities. Those actively participating in our democratic landscape, we should be prepared to value and defend. And now we'll open the floor for a few questions, if any of you have.
I have a question. What
Yes.
specifically have you done to work with teens and young adults to combat violent extremism? You mentioned you've made progress since January. How?
So January, the meetings provided the first time that the community sat together from multiple different organizations, and they talked about what are they actually doing to address this issue, and looked across the room and saw different strategies were actually being used. So for the first time, we were able to share what each different organizations were doing. For example, some organizations beefed up their security on the weekends so that they monitor the hallways and they make sure that the community is more aware, or they are more aware of who's coming in and out.
What organizations monitor hallways?
I don't know exactly, but there are many organizations that are doing it already, but others were able to share that. Others talked about how to educate the parents, how to educate the teachers. So these are just initiatives that just came from that. But the community from day one has been taking on this issue seriously. And we believe we've had tremendous progress against Al-Shabaab, which we have seen absolutely no recruiting, but activities have happened.
Answering that question also, we have
Go to the microphone.
we have
If you could get specific, because you say you
yes,
you
it's specific.
said you
It's
mentioned
specific.
progress.
Yes, it's specific. Is we have been doing this work before.
Right.
It's not something that we start because we, as a Muslims, imams, we believe religion of Islam is peace religion, which means all activities geared to do like peace activities, and we are all peace officers, and that's the only thing that I could say is a new thing is instead of mosques limited the activities within the imams and officials of the mosque, we expanded and engaged the parents, the community leaders to be part of these mosque activities to make sure that what we are saying is part of the community. So that is the progress that I think it did not happen before.
I want to add
What type of activities at the mosque do you do to promote peace?
It is, yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
So we have many activities and programs for the youth. We work on job employment. We work on educating them and putting them towards education and getting them into the proper schools. We also have youth activities like camps, soccer programs, basketball programs. We work with local law enforcement. We do basketball, we do soccer with law enforcement. So these are programs that are already going on. They've been going on for the past years, and it's not something that we just started. We've just improved it and put more programs towards the youth, and we continue to do this for the youth.
You mentioned you've made progress. How do you gauge the progress?
Let me share with you something first to understand where we're coming from and what Islam is all about. The religion of Islam is a comprehensive way of life. We do not wait for something to happen and then take care of it. No. Since day one of establishing any Muslim organization, any mosque, we do have specific programs to work in and to work with. Parents, for instance, when they come to marriage, we offer premarital counseling. We tell them what to do and how to establish a wonderful and a great Muslim family and so on and so forth. How they take care of their kids since day one when they were born. We do not wait till they are teenagers and have problems and then we can work on it and so on and so forth. The teaching of Islam would teach us that we have to tackle each and every single issue in our life. We do not wait for something wrong to happen and then let's take care of it. Let's have some intervention and so on and so forth. Programs we do have, parents programs we do have, children programs we do have, kids coming from the school, they need some after school activities, we provide such a thing, we help them, we're tutoring them and so on and so forth. We're making them aware how they should be a wonderful contributing citizen of this country, meaning that they have to contribute in the most peaceful way ever, to be part of the community, to be involved, to learn from parents, to learn from imams, to learn from the leadership, to learn from the media, to learn from the country, what they should contribute. We do not produce a generation of people to be tourists, go somewhere and be engaged in war and so on and so forth. This is not the teaching of Islam at all.
So I have a follow-up question to that. You mentioned that you've made progress. Is there someone who comes to mind that you can recall that you've helped to stop from going over to join ISIS?
Come and join us. Come and visit with us in our organization. Come and watch what we're doing, what programs we do have. Look, check our websites and see what we're offering. Okay, and we would love for the media to be more involved with us. It is not only a press conference to tell you about what is going on. Come and visit with us. Okay, find out what is going on. Be engaged with us in our activities and so on and so forth.
Jaylani, or perhaps you mentioned since you're the youth, you work with youth. You mentioned you've made progress. Is there a particular person or a group of individuals who come to mind that you've helped to stop from going over?
At this point right now, we believe every initiative that we do in our community is helping our youth overcome many of the challenges that they face. In Minnesota, we have, especially in the African-American Somali population, we are dealing with a huge achievement gap. And so therefore, we believe it's very important that we help our youth overcome many issues, including this one. I would say right now that all of the initiatives, every effort that we have made has helped our community become stronger, be more resilient, because we are speaking to the people who make a huge difference. And so we believe this is just the beginning effort of unity. We believe this is the first seed to expand and to grow, and we are able to address these issues in a large extent.
Is there anyone out here who was considering going over but opted to stay because of your programs?
At this point right now, we're not 100% sure about that. But I would like to open up to anybody else. Thank you for the questions.
I mean, I think the average question is, I mean, you're saying that your programs are currently working and you don't need the federal government's CVE efforts, correct?
We believe that the CVE efforts is not the way to engage our community.
Okay.
We have been working with the law enforcement on these issues before the CVE. We believe the CVE is specifically targeting our community and therefore does not help our community become more resilient. What it does is that divides and it's ineffective and it creates a great deal of distrust. And this program came from the UK. This is not a new program to the United States. And in the UK, it has failed miserably. It has eroded the relationship between law enforcement and the community. And we believe that we are in that trajectory unless this program is stopped.
Do you think then that law enforcement should take a different approach or just stay out of it entirely?
They should.
I will answer
The-
that
They
one.
should. Go ahead.
I think it's very important. You know, the law enforcement, the key is the trust to have the community. And this program, as Jailani and all the imams have said, and I want to repeat it to you, it is to have the trust of the community. Once you have a program that's specifically designed for specific group, that itself is discriminatory. So that's why we as Muslim Americans here are reaffirming our commitment to the security of this great country of ours. That's number one. And number two is that we want to make sure that the community does not feel that they have to not to work with the law enforcement. And so we will worry about this program will create a wall between the community and the law enforcement. That's why we are strongly saying that this is not the right way to do it.
So do you think that the government should be involved but take a different approach?
Well,
Or
the-
stay out of it entirely?
I think, you know, the best way the government can do that is every time you rush something, you will always get a disaster. I will really encourage that is the government should take, weight because they are in charge for the security of this country. And we all work with them for the security because we believe that security is number one. But again, the CVE, you know that 96% of the extremism of terrorist related are not Muslim related. It's related by the white extremist groups and others. So we're talking about 4%. Are we supposed to focus on all our energy, the 4%? Look, the security of this country is concerns all of us. And we are going to work in day and night to make sure that our kids the right path. But again, this program that's specifically designed for Muslim Americans, and especially these three cities, we as a Muslim American reject categorically. And what we are saying that is not the right way to do it. To build relationship with the community is supposed to serve. Our community, we have our own resources we can come up. There are some organizations that can do a better job. Foundations. We have non-profits. They can deliver services. Government is good one thing, and that's the constitutionally mandated, and that is to protect this country and to deliver services, especially to have one hand in intelligence gathering, and the other hand you want to engage the community. Look, you are creating suspicious, and that is something we are creating to close that wall. Suspicious between the community and the law enforcement. And this program will really will create that program. I will give it to Dr. Hamid.
What I would like to add, maybe what CVE is doing, the goal is good, and what they are trying to accomplish is so wonderful. But I'm afraid the means. This is our concern. We will never be against any cooperative way or coordinating things. Let's sit down together. Let's find out. We know what is going on in our community, but if someone who's an outsider to find out something and try to implement it and impose it on the community without consulting with us about what is going on, I don't think this would. One more thing I would like to share with you, because the question has been repeated, how you have accomplished so far. A lot of programs. So that's why we would love to have some fund and grants coming from whoever is willing to provide us with in order to capitalize on it and invest in it in order to help us. But to be very honest with you, we have very limited resources. We do not have enough spaces in order to bring all the youth to be involved in programs. We do not have enough money in order to say, here is what we're going to spend in that program in that specific time. So we would love to coordinate more with them, would love for them to be more engaged with us. We are willing, more than willing, to cooperate and coordinate with them. Thank you.
But you won't take resources from them, it sounds like. You don't have resources, but you won't take money.
Yeah, that's
You're
what I want
against
to
the federal
clear.
government's
Yes.
money going toward these programs. Is that right?
Yes.
If the money is conditioned, if the money would tell us, here is what you should do with it, we'll abide by the law, no doubt about it. Any grants, any money, any finance, we will abide by whatever the rules and regulation is. But do not tell me, take this money and do such and such without a prior knowledge of what is going on in my community, without knowing the exact needs of our youth. This is what we meant by that. Yes, we need the money. We're welcome to receive the money, welcome to receive the grant, we'll abide by the laws, regulations, how to spend this money and so on and so forth. But we know in which areas we'll spend this money.
I just want to say, I know you have a few more questions. We're willing to entertain them, but as you can see, we actually are blocking the entrance to the mosque. So we would like to end the press conference here, and we will be available, all of us who have spoke will be available to answer your questions.
Just one last question. I mean, I noticed you have the families of the 6 young men here.
Yep.
Are they here because CVE efforts failed them, or can you explain their presence here and sort of why they're here?
I think this, yeah.
Yeah, it's very important to, they are here because at the beginning of we have to make it clear part of the CVE program brought by U.S. Attorney's Office to the imams, there was big expectation that to look together and discuss amicably where we can coordinate. So if we need to prevent any type of these acts that we all believe it's against Islam, whether it's act of the terrorism or act of the violent extremism, but that was failed, and was failed, and then we were shocked when we have seen in the news that the arrest. So what the families, they are here because they knew that at the beginning that, and the public knew that U.S. Attorney's Office started working all the imams, not only one specific group, all the imams. And that we were united that time together. But once this CVE came, the unity is gone. So a majority of the people stay together, or if not all, and to protect the community and the interests of the community with the interests of the nation, which in Islam we believe like saving one life is saving for all. So that's coming from the Quran. That's coming from our foundation of belief. So for that reason, and then one thing that I want to mention is we don't want the people think that we are competing for the money. So because that was repeated. We are not competing for the money. We will work without money. So for the interest of our community and interest for our youth, to save our youth from all types of the trouble, if even we don't get any money. Because some people might translate this, that this group is that group, they are very close to the government, they will get money. We are opposing how the government is approaching to these issues, and we won't get money. It's not the case that. The case is that, as my Imam, our brother, Dr. Hamdi said, the means and technicality and the procedure. That is the case. But the goal is golden goal to protect the nation and the world together.
It's actually, the goal is about the civil liberty. That's what it's all about. The reason we are opposed this program, the CVE, is because, in America, we have, it's always a challenge, you're right, to balance security and the civil liberty. But we cannot compromise our universal value of this great country of ours. Because this country, we have something, we cannot compromise our values in order to destroy the terrorism. We can still keep our values, those freedom of expression, those things that made this country great, while at the same time fighting terrorism. So the best way, again, to fight terrorism is really to work comprehensively with all the stakeholders. And we do believe that this CVE program is designed in a way that really discriminatory. That's the point. And for that, we conclude this press conference, and we thank you for coming. We'll be available to take some questions. But I want to thank you for the member of the press that who are here today. As you can see, that this is issue that we feel very passionate about it. Is it because when we fled in our homeland, especially Somalia, we have an authoritarian regime that the government was in control for everything, because the government has a bad meaning. So we came here and we found a refugee here. This country welcomed us here. It was a great country. Still it is. It has. You know why America is a beacon of hope of the world? Because there's a reason why. Because we have universal values, something that everyone wants. We need to protect those for the next generation to come. And that is the goal for us. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you.
maanta waxaan rabnay inaan muujino in ay muslimiintu ay ka midaysan yihiin inuu barnaamijkani uu muslimiintu ay ka soo horjeedaan marka saddexdii magaalada barnaamijyada loo soo bandhigay muslimiintii oo dhan iyagoo wada dhan ayay maanta u soo baxeen shir Jaraaid sidii ay u muujiyaan in midnimo ka jirto ka soo horjeedka barnaamijka
marka maxaad kaga soo horjeedaan
barnaamijka waxaan u aragnaa inuu yahay barnaamij muslimiinta gaar uu ah in la daba galo oon ahayn mid barnaamij dadka dhibaatooyinka kala wada in iyagana ay la rabo inay iyagana maaragtay wax laga qabto inuu yahay mid runtii dhibaatooyin badan muslimiinta mustaqbalka u keeni kara haddana waxaanu ogaanay in ay la soo bandhigay bill la rabo in lagu dhiso xafiis runtii la rabo in barnaamijkan la sii ballaadhiyo oo muslimiinta Mareykanka si dabagal ay u noqoto
barnaamijkan wuxuu diiradda saarayaa muslimiinta Mareykanka ah waxaana loogu talagalay 3 magaalo oo Los Angeles iyo Boston iyo Minneapolis wuxuu ku sameeyaa heebsooc sida heebsoocan dhibka Kenya waxa ka mid tahay waxa weeye wadankan wuxuu leeyahay wadan qofka shakhsiyaadka xuquuq buu leeyahay marka waxa timid markay imaat ereyga T ama terrorism in wadanka sharcigiisa inta meel iska dhigo oo mataqaana ay dawladdu doonayso mataqaana in dadka masaakiinta oo Soomaalida wadankan wax minority ka Minnesota kale waxaan ku deganahay 100,000 Mareykankana 250,000 ku deganahay waxaanu ka nahay 330 milyan waxaan ka nahay waa garan kartaa inta ka nahay dibka uu noo keenaa waxa way heebsooc buu nagu sameeyaa waxaan ku faraxsanahay inaan Jaraaidkan waxu qabanay inaan dadkeena ay ku midaysan yihiin muslimiinta Mareykanka inay ka midaysan yihiin inaan ka soo horjeesano barnaamijkan la yiraahdo counter violent extremism oo mataqaana oo la doonayo in la isku dhaxdaro muhiimaddu waxay tahay waxa la isku qasayaa intelligence gathering-ki ah in qofkii aad ka shakisay law enforcement-igi ama dadkii booliiska ahaa waxa baxaya trustiga ayaa yaraanaya oo shaki ayaa booliiska kala galaya marka anagu waxaan ka soo horjeednaa waxa weeye iyo uga soo horjeednaa waxay tahay waxa weeye ummadeena muslimiinta oo qaasada Soomaalida ah ayuu ku sameeyaa heebsooc waxaana uga digaynaa dadka Soomaaliyeed oo barnaamijkan dhageysan doona inay ogaadaan oo muhiimadu tahay in barnaamijkan uu yahay barnaamij oo lagu sameeyaa heebsooc ee ka taxadaraan
marka xasan waxa weeyaan dawladda barnaamijkan wax ka caawinaysa laakiin dawladdu maxay sameyn karaysaa oo ay sameynaysaa wadagteed argagixisada way jirtaa dhalinyaro fara badan oo Soomaaliyeed baa xiran maxay dawladdu ha sameeysaa leedahay hadii barnaamijkan ka soo jeedaan
wada mushkilada aan rabaa dadka inay ogaadaan waxa waaye barnaamijkan iyo dawladda laba kala yihiin dawladda wada tawaarun dawladdu way qaldami kartaa shacabka inay ogaadaan waaye marka mashruuc khaldana way wadi kartaa mashruucaas in la saxo u bahnaanaya haduu khaldan yahay marka mashruucan waxa laga soo guuriyay asal ahaan wadanka Ingiriiska iyadoo loogu talagalay la dagaalanka argagixisada ama xaq jirka gacanka hadalka markii mashruucaas la keenay wuxuu kala qaybiyay wadanka Ingiriiska shacabka muslimku kala qaybiyay masaajidihii laga abuuray in la isbasaaso wuu fail garoobay dawladana way qaratay Ingiriiska shacabkana way ku waafaqeen marka mashruuc noocaas marka la soo guuriyo wixii kala halkan ka dhacay oo ah masaajidihii inay kala qaybsamaan in la isdabagalo in la isdhageysto iyadoo markaas hadafku uu yahay koox gooni ah ama community gooni ah horta wax meesha qaldan waa meesha talabaad waxa kale ka dhalanaya mashruucan haduu awood yeesho oo sharci uu noqdo hadda mashruuc qaanuuneed ama bill wax loo yaqaan ayaa horyaal Congress haduu sharci isku bedelo markaas kadib waxa imaanayso wax la yiraahdo abuse of power macnaha awoodi in si khaldan loo isticmaalo oo dawladdu u isticmaasho oo dad argagixisa kaliya aan la raadsan dad kale siyaasiyan loo raadsado sababta mashruuc arintan fiiri Shir ina ogaato waaye foreign policy oo Mareykanka wax badan ka khaldan ee salka ku haysataa marka community-ga oo Soomaalida wax local ah ayay maaragtay ay fiirin karaan laakiin fiiri barnaamijkan muslimiinta xitaa hadii la yiraahdo wali wuxuu noqonaa heebsooc sida Sadiq uu sheegay sababtoo ah barnaamij kasto la sameeyo wadanka Mareykanka waxa fiican inuu saameeyo wadanka Mareykanka oo dhan waxa jiro argagixisanimo oo gudaha ka jirta halkan argagixisanimo ay sameeyaan dadka cadaanka jirto ay sameeyaan argagixisanimo ay sameeyaan jirto kooxo kale wadanka oo hubaysan marka intaas oo dhan inuu saameeyo ahayd laakiin barnaamijkan qaabka uu sameeysan yahay wuxuu saameynayaa oo kaliya muslimiinta si qaasna Soomaalida u saameynaya taas waa tan diidanahay anaga
waxa weeyaan anagu ma nihin ummad amba dad argixisa iyagun ah ma nihin barnaamijkan wuxuu saalmeynayaa in ay muslimiintu ay qirtaan inay yihiin dad kale iska ilaalinayo anaguna ma rabno haddii barnaamijyo la soo furo la rabo argixisa laga hortago waxa weeyaa in loo furo dadkaas oo dhan ee dhibaatada wadanka ku haya hadda dhawaan nin cad baa dilay 9 qof oo dad madow ah laguma daba tegin barnaamijyo laguma bilaabin maantana Mareykanka hay'adda waliba nabad sugidda FBI hadii la weydiiyo dadka Mareykanka khatarta ugu weyn yee ka imanaysa muslimiin ma waa rag cadaan oo hubaysan oo ilaa hadda xitaa masaajidda xitaa ku soo halgamay oo maaragtay imaad marka waxa weeye anagu waxaan rabnaa dawladdu in ay nala dhaqanto sida dadka ay dhan aynan anagana goob aynu qolna la gelin marka barnaamijkan saasan khalad aan uga aragnaa laakiin anagu bulshad ahaan wax inaan inagu aan sameysano isku tag iyo wada shaqeyn ka hortaga dhibaatada dhalinyarteen oo dhan waa mid inagana laga baahan yahay inaan dawladda la shaqeyno taasna waa mid nalaga baahan yahay sharciyana inaguna aanu sameeyno xitaa qolooyinka FBI way sheegtay inay muslimiintu yihiin bulshad runtii mar kastaba soo hormariya dadaal badan oo ay runtii ka hortaga dhibaatooyinka sida argixisada kale
marka waxa weeye sadiiq waxa weeye barnaamijkan lacag fara badan baa la socota oo la siinaya cidii loo garto Soomaaliduna waxay leedahay waxaanu u baahannahay lacagta faraha badan waanu u baahannahay si aanu dhalinyarada iyo cidii kaleba mataqana argagixisada uga dagaalano maxaad leedahay marka
well horta lacagta community-ga run weeye resource la'aan waa jirtaa laakiin Soomaalidu waxay tiraahdaa doofaar looma cuno waa gaajeysna waxa weeye waxaa jira oo fundamental rights ah oo annaga walaalkii Jeelani uu ka dhawaajiyo ahayd inaan qiranayno inaan nahay dad terrorist ah ama dad argagixiso ah ummadan Soomaalida Mareykanka degan waa dad citizen ah waa dad aad u wanaagsan waa dad mataqaanaa reeyla wadanka qayb weyn ka qaatay muddada yar joogeen ka qayb qaatay lacagta aan u baahannahay oo resource-ga xaq u leenahay oo as muwaadiniin kaas waxaana dad canshuur bixiyaan nahay lacagtaas waxay ku fiican tahay in loo dhiibo hay'adaha foundationada ama non profitka kuwaas ayaa yaqaana sida loo deliver gareeyo service-ka dawladdu hal bay ku wanaagsan tahay oo constitution-kan wadanka mandate gareeyba hal shay weeye inay citizen-keeda ama muwaadinkeeda inay difaacato taasna waa wax loo gulay laakiin midaan oo mataqaanaa 96% waxaan doonayaa in mataqaanaa focuska ay dadka Soomaalida la fahmaan wadankan argagixisada ka dhacda 96% waxaa dadkan white extremists-ah iyo dadka kale weeye marka dadka islaamka waxa lagu weeraa inay 4% resource-ga iyo xafiiskan cusub oo qareenka Xasan Jaamici ka hadlay oo ah biilku ka hadlay waxa waa HR 2889 oo ah Congress-ka laga wado ah mataqaan lagu sameeyay in laga dhigo arrin permanent ah oo xafiis la sameeyo xafiiskaas oo bishii loo qorsheeyay $1 milyan oo waxa weeye oo shaqadiisu tahay kaliya in anagu kala shakino oo masaajidadiina loogu imaado oo mataqaanaa annagii culimadii dhaxdooda iyo dadkii shakhsiyaadka ah muhiimadaas weeye in annaga kala shakino yani jusay taas waa arrinta keeskaas weeye
marka waxa weeye Sheekh Xasan haye maxaa ku daraysaa
waxaan ku darayaa mashruucan taariikh u leeyahay sheeno taariikhdiisa markaad baarto waxaa ku jirtay hay'ado ka qayb qaatay isla mashruucan oo kale hay'adahaasi hay'ad islaami ah oo kamid ah waxa laga codsaday inay soo gudbiyaan magacyo qaarkood iyo dadka qaarkood waxaana ka codsanaya FBI markaad saas u fiiriso kale mashruucan marka wuxuu faraha kula jiraa ma aha kaliya inuu caawino dhalinyarada ama inuu ka hortago argagixisada wuxuu ka shaqeynayaa in jaajuusnimo taasna shaqada community-ga ma ahan masaajidahana shaqadooda ma ahan haddii oo intelligence system uu jirayo dawladda way leedahay systemkaasi isticmaali kartaa laakiin mashruucan hadduu uu kala shaqeeyo dawladda intelligence gathering waxa loo yaqaan ah in xog la ururiyo community-ga masaajidkii loogu talagalay dadka diinta inuu baro hadduu bilaabo inuu ka shaqeeyo inuu xog ururiyo wuxuu ka baxay line-kii iyo khadkii loogu talagalay iyo dacwadii halkaasna wuxuu ku luminayaa masaajidka kalsoonidii marka dadka masaajidaha ku biiray waa inay taxadir ka ahaadaan arrimahaasi
marka waxa weeyna sidaaba hadday tahay dawladdu intelligence-ga ama sirdoonka inay lahaato soo qasab kuma aha oo dawladdu meesha ay ka helaysa sirdoonka ay u gasho
dawladda iyaga waxaa u furan waddo kasta inay maraan iyaga dhankooda marka laga hadlayo laakiin anaga community markaan nahay ama masaajida markaan nahay nooma furna waddo kasto sababtoo marna diinta diidayso waxyaalo qaarkood inaan sameeyno marna as a community oo kale ma sameyn karno community-ga qaar ka mid ah ma jaajuusi karo marka waxyaalaha dawladda shaqo ahaan iyaga u taala taas iyaga u deynina laakiin waxaan leenahay oo kaliya community-ga iyo masaajidaha kuma biiri karaan mashruuc la isdabagalayo la isjaajuusayo waa intaas waa